¿Qué pasa? My name is Edward. Thank you guys for paying attention in another edition of the Jack Files. I try to give everybody a lot of different types of news. This one, I've read about it. I've read it several times. I've actually looked into several different court cases that when it's come up. That's an article you can find on CNN. It's about the Pledge of Allegiance. That's right, guys. The Pledge of Allegiance. Now, in the last few years, the Pledge of Allegiance has become a sort of wildfire issue for certain areas. Teachers and administrators in schools just don't know what to do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, I have to ask you this question, the viewer, because I ask myself that question. If the Pledge of Allegiance was important, that we needed to recite it every day, why is it children are only doing it? I mean, it's just a question, because the only place that this question comes up is saying the Pledge of Allegiance constitutional. The only place that's ever brought up is in schools. Now, some people say that the Pledge of Allegiance is unconstitutional because of the phrase "under God." Now, we are supposed to have separation of church and state, which a lot of people don't realize is not enforced. And when I say that, some people are like, huh? What do you mean? Well, if you take a dollar bill out of your wallet or your purse or whatever you use, you're going to see on the back of a dollar, it says, "In God we trust." Now, these dollars have been around and done the same way for a long time. If the government finally decides to take off the phrase "In God we trust," it's going to take a lot of votes. It's going to take a hell of a lot of effort, too, because something that's been around for a long time. Now, wait 1 second. Damn phone. Make sure the thing goes off. Alright. It's been around for a long time. And we've been doing the Pledge of Allegiance for a long time now. Now, for those of you that don't know, I found this out on CNN. The Pledge of Allegiance was started by a Baptist minister in 1892. For what reason, nobody knows. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't written down, and as much as I tried to find the reason behind it, I couldn't find the reason behind it. Now, the phrase "under God" was added in 1954 during the McCarthy era. Now, for those of you that don't know, he was this real sadistic motherfucker that was out there trying to find the people that were communists in American government. Most of the time, he just harassed honest working Americans, and he caused a lot of problems and destroyed a lot of lives. Now, it's the phrase "under God" which causes a problem for a lot of people. This includes administrators and teachers, not just parents. Now, for those of you that are wondering how big of an issue this is, well, let me put it this way. 36 states in the Union have a law requiring that the Pledge of Allegiance be recited daily in public schools. Now, some courts have ruled that you have to tell a child that they have the option not to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Why? Because in reality, what is the Pledge of Allegiance for? Ask yourself that question, because I've been asking myself that question ever since I first read the article. I cannot understand why we do it. But some people who I've asked, personal friends of mine, saying we're just trying to indoctrinate it into children's minds, that they owe allegiance to this country and nothing else. Maybe that's true. Who knows? I don't know why we do it. You don't know why we do it. I mean, I couldn't even find the history behind the why. But it's already here. Now, you have to understand, the Pledge of Allegiance doesn't even say the truth. We are not one nation under God. That's not something I'm saying. That's a quote from the CNN website where I found the first article that inspired all this. A lot of supporters of the Pledge of Allegiance insist that the words are both constitutional and important to our national heritage. Now, if that's the case, if it's important to our national heritage, the Pledge of Allegiance should be taught in history classes, because the Pledge of Allegiance has no place in modern day society. But you know what? It's not for me to say. a lot of people have been going back and forth on this issue for the last couple of years. Damn, I hate when people send me messages this late at night. Anyway, now Fox News opinion demographic polls in November of 2005 showed that 95% of the American public approve of the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the rest said they would change the language of the pledge, and 3% of Americans were undecided. Well, obviously they didn't understand, basic English. Okay, but put the popularity of the Pledge of Allegiance aside. Let's go to straight up facts. In 1943, the Supreme Court ruled that it was mandated for students to say the oath in schools. Now, they said it was unconstitutional. It was it was a violation of the First Amendment. But it's not to say. I mean, I'm quite shocked. I mean, the words are having trouble coming out of my mouth. That it was a violation of the Constitution not to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, that's some pretty harsh shit. Now, a lot of people are trying to argue left and right about this, but you know what? I leave it up to you, because some courts said, you know what? You have to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I say, why the fuck are we doing it to children only if it's that important? And if it's part of our heritage, they should learn about it in history class. And if we're going to make kids say it, I believe we should take up the phrase under God. Because you know what? It's about separation of church and state. And if that's the case, we should be looking at removing "In God We Trust" on all dollar bills. But like with most things, one argument can lead to another argument, because no matter what answer you get at the end, it doesn't have anything to do with the first question you ask. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you this first question, and try to keep it on that question. I know I said other questions that kind of were inspired from that question, but hey, you know what? Let's try to keep it focused. The Pledge of Allegiance isn't necessary. I leave it up to you, because once we start, is it necessary? It goes to is it constitutional, and it goes on and on and on. Who knows? But that's why I'm here. My name is Edward, and this is the Jack Files. It's all about freedom of speech. Oh, freedom of speech, guys. Remember, use it or somebody just might take it away. And if it's okay not to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, think about it. They're forcing these kids to say something. And in this country, we're allowed to say whatever the fuck we want. It's the First Amendment. But the Pledge of Allegiance, does it break the First Amendment? If we actually rule it now in today's courts. Think about it. You be the judge. Peace. And guys, I'll see you next time.